We have some Gimmick puppet action for you. It appears that Traptrix is still leaping into action, and yes, we have more Odion. You guys smash living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. Now, this is actually pretty interesting to see because there have been a decent amount of players that have been looking at Gimmick puppets as an actual strategy, and they've been doing really well with this, honestly. I'm not exactly sure what more you can really try to do with Gimmick puppets at this point to make this deck a little bit more consistent, because honestly, it's just not going to be there. You know, when you're looking at the way that this deck plays, you've got to understand a couple of things. One, that your matchups are going to be very, very rough. But on the flip side, though, you got some pretty cool options now. You're playing things like Dominus Impulse in here to give you a little bit more of a defensive edge over the competition, which I think this is a wonderful concept in theory, just to be able to have that little extra defense so that you actually don't get blown out of the water in certain situations. But also, you need some, decent thrust targets to be able to go into. We do very much live in a time in this game's history where, thrusting into an option to try to board break your opponent is very, very well. You're also playing things like Fuas. I'm surprised Droll is still sticking around in these lists, but I actually think that's okay. You gotta have a lot of good options, or your build is just going to flounder into the ground and you're going to be left with great options. But I mean, your OTK scenario is still going to be the same. Unfortunately, the TCG version has to work for this a little bit more based on our limitations in the Gimmick puppet department, but I can't imagine that Konami is going to allow us an opportunity to try to FTK a little bit easier. Still, cool build, to say the least. I'm glad to see it's still working. Traptrix. No matter what happens, somebody is going to be trying Traptrix out here, and it's really going to be an interesting takeaway in today's meta, because when you look at the way that Traptrix plays as a deck right now, it seems really, really slow, because you're like, oh, I gotta win the dice roll, I gotta go first. That's why this card is in here. The Going Second 5,000 Turbo Machine. Yes, that's right. A trap deck being able to play a trap card that allows them to go second. What a massive surprise. Now, this is just the reality that we live in right now, that you've got to be relying on things like Evenly Matched, or you're just going to get absolutely decimated in this meta. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this, people. You need things like this, or your game plan is just going to go down the crapper. There's no... I mean, you could try things like Book of Eclipse in the main deck, but I don't think you're going to get those results that you want. The trap lineup for this, I think, is pretty solid. You have to play things like Bottomless, because you gotta be able to try to hit all of the different decks that are going to be hurting you. And I think this deck does a pretty decent job of trying to sum all of that up and be able to hit those keynotes. Also, you do get access to the Strenna into the Hyperton. I do love the fact that this deck can do some other little options, but you still are playing Traptrix in 2025. You still are going to run into some issues in the deck build department, and I guess that's fine. Just go second 5-head and win the game. Next up here, K9 with Odion, and of course we are packing in how many different engines in this bad boy in order to try to play the game. Quite a lot, unfortunately. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that you're relying on all these different packages to make this work. But I think when you're getting into the construction phase and dealing with this. It's all one card combos effectively, because it's not a full extended K9 package. Like, it's the bare minimum. It's just the Azunas and the Lupus, which this is the most basic thing that the OCG was doing. A lot of the TCG doesn't really like this package, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, when Odion is literally just the hand trap magnet of all things, I think you do want little options like this. I also do see down here, well, first of all, the Lord of Heavenly Prison is a hilarious option because you have so many different utility options here. One of them being the Eye of Truth. This forces the opponent to literally keep their hand revealed. And Mr. Lord of the Heavenly Prison here is going to give you the ability to pull out one of these particular trap cards and really just blow the opponent out of the water, which could potentially win you the game. Obviously, something like Chain Disappearance is, you all know why we're playing this. You've read all the meme reviews. You know, you've all seen the one guy pull this off, and suddenly, you know, chaining this on an obedience school is one of the greatest things that you could ever imagine to do. Yeah, I too wish that I had a success rate of that being super relevant. Next up here, we have Draco Tail K9. Now, or, yeah, just Draco Tail Dragonmaid. Sorry, not K9. Talk about, first of all, one chamber, one Laporte, triple made, that's 5. And then you have one tidying and one changeover. That is a 7-card package in the main deck that you get to play with, and you get to actually have this work out for you. I love that, actually. It's one of the coolest things about looking at a build like this, that you actually get to see the Dragon Maid stuff being relevant, but not just that. It's another piece that you're able to bridge into, because, I mean, all you got to do is have a Dragon Maid plus a level 5 or higher dragon. Luckily for us, this deck actually has naturally built-in dragons that we can actually just, if we needed to hard make Shio, you know, we can, instead of going down, you know, the actual Dragon Maid path to make it, which is really cool. You do see that this list is also playing Kwakimera Drago. Drago has been getting a lot more play value as of late, and I've actually really appreciated how good Drago has been. Flipping this card up is like an auto death sentence to certain decks. Like, a lot of people do not have the abilities to counter this. And the more that I have seen that be an actual option, it's really a beautiful thing, man. Auto win conditions that you can just slap on the table and go with. Good stuff. Outside of that, I mean, the entire side deck is fire. You've got your meta counters in here. You're doing exactly what this deck needs to be doing. And then our last list here is Memento. There have been a decent amount of Memento lists that have been kind of peeping up and doing things. This list has got a very, very interesting little Fiendsmith guy in here, because you're not going down any of the extra Fiendsmith stuff. You just got an engraver here because if you've got multiple monsters, you want to be able to go into this, into the Requiem, and then depending on what pieces that you're left with here, you get to just access sequence and shuffle back based on resources, but also you're making the Dookie of Demise. Duke Boy here gives us extra extenders so that we can get really cute in our playlines. If not, I mean, you just access Kaiser Varius, or yeah, King Kaiser here, and you just have a defensive play against Nibiru. And that itself is really, really strong. You don't get blown out against any real problematic cards, because unfortunately, I mean, this deck's real worst enemy is usually going to be a giant space rock. And if you can kind of pad yourself down and not have to worry about something like that coming through and ruining your day, most people are going to be all for that. It just means extra defensive plays and, you know, not losing to something entirely random. So, you know, if you can make your deck withstand some of the most basic anti-craziness that you can, I don't see a problem here. Alright, so what do you guys think about all these cool decks? Please, so comment down below, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.